happy to be here. I'm happy to always lend a voice when it comes to anything that regards, disability management, persons with disability, because I have a 10-year-old daughter living with disability, and that has, pushed me into this sector. Because when I got her diagnosis, it was one of two things. Should I leave the country? But my husband and I decided to say, okay, we can't leave the country for now. We have to make this work. And we decided to make it work. When I got a little respite, from my own life, I began to ask questions. Okay, so for parents who are not as educated, for parents who do not have this opportunity, how are they doing it? And I realized that there's a lot of gaps in the system, in our community. Everybody wants to relocate abroad. If the people that are in the so-called abroad did not stand up to say they want to make a change in their country, if you go and read in history, they also fought for what they are enjoying today. So that was one of the reasons why I decided that I'm going to lend a voice. I'm going to be the voice for families who have children with disabilities. I'm going to be the voice for persons who have disability. And that is why I started I started by writing, and it started as my diary, Diary of a Special Needs Mom, which has metamorphosed into an NGO called Philippians 4:13 Foundation. So I'll be talking about parents with disability and parenting a child with a disability. So like I have said, I'm a parent, parenting a child with a disability. I don't have a disability, but I can also speak because I counsel for both sides, whether you're a parent with disability or you're a parent that's parenting a child with disability. But I'm going to start with parenting a child with disability, whether it's disability, whether it's special needs, So I'm going to start from after the diagnosis. So this is where life starts for a parent. You're wondering, okay, there's something about this child I don't understand, or I understand, or maybe you are denying it, you can see it, you are not seeing it, Then finally you go for all this medical tests and the results comes out and say, oh, this child has so, and so. Okay, then what should happen after the diagnosis? A parent is allowed to grieve. You can't be telling a parent, don't cry, don't this, don't that, be strong, be this. Allow the parent to grieve, because they have to mourn the loss of the child they wanted, so that they can empty their soul and accept the child that they have received. Because especially as a first-time parent, you already have plans of your child to go to this school, your child to do this, your child to do that. And I even counsel moms that, they just gotten married, they're pregnant, their first child, they don't even know anything about parenting. All they know is that, baby, then they don't have a child that has a disability. So you need to allow them to grieve, and hope that their grieving period will not be long. Then what I always tell parents that when you get a diagnosis for a child, your child, it's not necessarily the child that needs help. Yes, the child needs help. But guess what? The parents need help as an individual to understand what is happening as a couple. I have seen in my area of counseling that many marriages do not withstand the pressure, the demands that comes with parenting children with disability. So we cannot take therapy for granted. You cannot take counseling for granted, either as an individual or a couple is either if you can afford professional counseling, you go to for a therapy, you go to the clinician. And if you cannot, I would advise you don't go for counseling with people who are biased towards persons with disability. Because if you go for counseling, permit me, to some, in quotes, men of God who believe that children with special needs are punishments to the parents, or they are from strange worlds, or, so that can even compound the issues on ground. So you need to go to either, a parent who you see is already thriving in caring for a person with disability. Do not, I'm saying all this because these are the foundation to parenting a child with disability. If you go to the wrong people, they will mislead you. They will destroy even the little faith that the parents have in that child, or in the possibilities of caring for a child with disability. So you need to either go to professionals, or maybe parents that are thriving in caring for their children with disability. Because we live in a society today that is highly biased. Whether they are educated, you'll be amazed. I have seen professors in medicine, professors that you think should be liberal, should be more, aware in their thinking, and they are still biased towards persons with disability. So you need to go to professionals, you need to go to parents who are thriving. I am emphasizing it over and over again based on what we see in counseling. Secondly, as a parent, you need to forgive yourself. Most times when I listen to parents talk, is always if I have not done this, if my husband has not done this, if this nurse did not do this, if this doctor had not said this, there is someone that they are always holding in unforgiveness, and at times it's God. So as a parent of a child with special needs, you need to forgive yourself, forgive whoever you feel might have complicated the case for your child, and let go, not because of them, but because of you. You cannot move on. You cannot proceed in your journey in healing unless and until you forgive. So forgiveness is very important. And also the next thing is acceptance. Well, let me give an example for myself as a Christian. The very first thing is denial. No, my child does not have this. My child, I bind, I cast. I'm not saying that in accepting doesn't mean that you should not pray for your child. In accepting is saying, this is what my child has. What next? What should I do? That doesn't mean that you don't have faith. That doesn't mean that you should not keep praying or fasting for your child. It means that you are accepting that, okay, my child has this. What is the next thing that I need to do? That is acceptance. And acceptance may take a while. It's not a one-day journey. Because especially when you have a child that has a physical disability that people can see, and you go outside, people are staring at you, it takes a while for a parent to get accustomed to that. So the next one is building your mental health. Like I said, the foundation of parenting a child with special needs, it starts with the parent, not with the child. You can't give what you don't have. If you are in an airplane and you see the air hostess telling you, giving you instructions in case there's loss of oxygen in a cabin, they will tell the adult, if you are with a child and you see the oxygen mask come down, put your own on first before you help your child. If you cannot give what you don't have, it's out of your abundance that you can give to your child. Our children with disability can feel your negative or your positive energy. So you need to work on yourself. And to be honest, the community does not help. So you need to start from within before you can start from outside. So I always tell people, you need to grow a thick skin to what people will, how they will look at you. You know, we're in the community where, oh, everything must be perfect. And we're in the age of 3Ds, the 4Ds, the 5Ds, where everybody is can, you know, use computers to make everything look very perfect. So when you now, in quote, bring your imperfect child as what, you know, you see some people that want to move because of lack of understanding. So I always tell parents that you need to build a thick skin towards people, not because you become heartless or you build in bitterness or hatred. No. For me, I have learned to forgive people upfront. And I say, oh, it is their ignorance or lack of understanding that makes them to react that way. Another thing that you need to have as a parent is deaf ears. People will talk. Anyway, people will always talk. Oh, I mean, we take our child to the mall and people will tell us, oh, why don't you take her to this church or that church? Someone has told me that, oh, the church I'm attending is not a praying church, that I should take my child to a church where they do deliverance, you know. And I just smile and say thank you. Another thing you need to have is a good sense of humor. You need to be able to laugh at yourself and laugh at your situation. That is the way you can be able to build your mental health. You know, healing will take time. Getting to that stage of being indifferent to people will take time. But when you have this understanding at the back of your mind that this is your own reality, and I always tell people that everyone in this life is going through a challenge. My own is just that I have a child with special needs. I don't know what yours is that you're covering with your clothes. I don't know what is happening in your own home or your finances or your health or anything or what is ahead of you. My own challenge may start earlier than yours or your own started earlier than me. We are all on a different path in this life. And my own is to focus on my own and live my life the best way that I can. I always emphasize to parents of children with special needs that you have only one life. Having a child with disability is not a death sentence. You have only one life. You're not on rehearsals. This is your life. This is your real life. This is your only life. Life is a gift. So with you and your child, live your best life. My child and I, we go places together. We go on holiday together. We don't say, oh, because, oh, we have a child with special needs, she will not go on holiday with us. No, we go. We will make space for her. We will make room for her. You know, last April we went in Kenya, we went to the safari. I mean, we go places that we're the only person that has a child with on a wheelchair, and we are pushing, you know, we are pushing her. She's going to use her neck collar, she's going to use her wheelchair, she's going to she has involuntary hand movements, she's going to throw her hands everywhere. Yeah, the plane will make adjustments for her. So it is our life. We have accepted it and we have made room for her in our life. So another thing I would tell parents is that to grow, you know, to grow stronger, you need encouragement. And I would advise you join a support group. If you join a support group that you don't feel is, you know, is healthy for you or what they do, you can look for something else. It's always good to, I have a support group for moms, but what I focus on is their mental health and their business, how they can build and, you know, build their business, their career. And I also put them in groups of 6 so that if they can't, you know, commune in a big group, they can commune in a small group and they can make friends, the friends that understand their situations, the friends that are on the same path with them, because that is very, very key to our mental health. Then as parents, you know, you put everybody else before yourself. You need to take care of yourself so that you live long and you live healthy and you're not treating sickness and disease. So balanced diet is very important and it is cheap. If you are eating food that is in season from the soil, it is affordable. You do your exercise. You know, you everything you need now is on YouTube. Do your exercises on YouTube and, you know, ensure that whether it's 30 minutes per day, 40 minutes per day. For me, I wake up at 4:30. By a few minutes to 5, I take a walk till for 45 minutes. I try to do that at least every day, to take a walk, and I've already started thinking of other modes of exercise that I can also add to it. Then you can have your meditation, and also your prayer. Also affirmations, if I'm a Christian, so I have affirmations that, I will say to myself, or I listen to affirmations, with my phone on YouTube. These are things that help to build my mind and my person. So special needs parents and marital relationship. Like I have said, in counseling, I have come to realize that many marriages do not wave the tide when it comes to special needs parenting. Because for you to be successful, the reason why I am where I am today, the reason why I'm able to do all that I do today, is because I have a supporting husband. Last Sunday, I had my book launch. I was able to, I wrote a play. The play has been used, is a play on inclusion and diversity. The Gods Are Strange. It's been staged in Jos. It's been staged in Corona School, secondary school in Lagos. I also was able to translate one of my books. My name is Nemi, to 6 languages: Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Pidgin, German, French. And I also wrote a storybook about how to include a child with mobility in parties and activities. I'm saying all this because if I didn't have a husband who understood the assignment, because I see this as an assignment for the two of us. So we work together as a team. Where he has strengths, we put together our strengths and weaknesses, and work together as a team to care for our child. So it's not just, oh, this parent or that parent, so, but this may not be the case for everybody, because they are still at the beginning stage of accepting. They are still at the beginning stage of, oh, this is not in my family line. I've heard that many times. Oh, that nobody in my family has disability. I've heard the story. I've heard cases of, oh, the woman's tummy is this, the that. I've even seen a case where the woman, the mother was saying that her sister-in-law has a child with special needs. So her own special needs is from, her own child with special needs is from her husband, is on her husband's side. So her husband should come and know how to take care of it. I've also seen marriages where the woman will run away. So it's not just the men, even the women too. It's just that we find it more common with the men going away than the women. So therefore, how can we avoid this? Is going for counseling. And like I always say, go for counseling with professionals. Because if you go for counseling with people that do not understand, people that are biased, either by culture or religion, they can scatter the marriage. And another thing is, when you see couples that are able to manage and do well with their own child that has disability, you can also seek for counseling, seek for help. If as a husband, you don't understand what is going on, you need counseling, seek for help. Seek for help. I will always say it. Then also to forgiveness. Forgive as a couple, forgive one another. Whether it was the man that said she should not give birth through CS and insisted on natural birth, what that caused whatever that they will have caused, forgive one another. Then in caring for your child with special needs, I would say that the parents should not neglect their own relationship. the parents should not neglect, so they should also make out time. What I have seen most times is that the women oftentimes they lose themselves. Either they fall into depression. I've seen women that even stop having their bath, taking care of their hygiene. Women that are smelling, they become haggard. They don't dress up, they don't make up, they become a shadow of themselves because you have a child with special needs. And so, is that the end of the world? No. Like I always say, everybody has a challenge. This is your own, and this is your life. And this is the only chance you have to live this life. You will not come back and live it. Nobody has died and come back and said, this is how I want to now live the second part of the life. This is the life. And before you know it, life is short, it's over. So you need to care for your child, care for yourself, care for your relationship, and don't lose your mind in the process. Then learn to overcome shame and third-party opinion. So you see parents that can't take their children anywhere because they are ashamed of what people will say, of what you need to, and that will come with time. The more you do it, the more you get thick skin. The more you take your child out, the more people get accustomed to you. They will say whatever they want to say. That is their business. Live your life. The other thing I would encourage parents is protect your home. Protect your child from third parties, especially so-called friends and in-laws who always have an opinion or an advice, or one baba somewhere or one mama somewhere that does miraculous cures, in quotes. That is something that has worked for me. Building my own support system. My number one support system is my spouse, because we are this together. I cannot do it. I am not a superwoman. I cannot do it alone. So for me, I understand the part that caregivers play. If someone told me that I need to write a book about caregivers and nannies, I understand the part that caregivers play. So I choose them carefully. So like my daughter goes to school, and because she's unable to use her 4 limbs, and she has involuntary neck control, so she needs to sit down in a wheelchair and she can't write. But guess what? She's very intelligent, right? So she goes to school, so the caregivers are my support team, my support system. The school, the fact that she's going to be in a school from morning till 3 p.m. means that I have to be careful in the school and choose the school that she attends carefully. So I usually go for a small school who is able to accommodate us. I'm more particular about the warmth than the academics, because the academics, we can always, do lessons or something, but is my child loved? Is my child being taken care of? Is my child included? Because I believe so much in inclusive education. So those are the things I look for in a school. Then my class teacher as well. My daughter goes to school with an assistant teacher. So she goes to school with a caregiver and she goes to school with an assistant teacher. So these people that surround her, I choose them carefully, because she also has a bit of speech impairment. So oftentimes she's going to say a long sentence, you not even understand what she is saying. So I ensure that the people around her are people that have empathy, people that care, not just doing the work because of money, but they care for what they are doing. So the teachers are my support system. Then her sister, I have 2 daughters. Her sister is also a big member of my support system. I have counseled a mom who who came to me with a 21-year-old lady who has I think learning disability plus another disability that I couldn't place my hand on. And she was like, oh, every day her husband insults her in front of her siblings. And the siblings too also insult her. They call her dollar, they call her names. And, I was looking at this young lady and she was looking down. She couldn't even look into my eyes. And I told her to look up. I told her, it is not your fault that you have a disability. I told her, when we're coming to the earth, I said, you and I, nobody asked us how we wanted to be formed. We came. We are here. Therefore, we owe nobody any apology whatsoever. I said, look up. You deserve to be seen and heard because you are a human being like anybody else. And I told the mother, I said, you have a very big fault in this. I said, and she came to me looking for where to go and keep the girl. So for me, I show my daughter, my younger daughter, how to relate with her sister, and she even does things for her sister. But in doing that, doesn't mean that I don't have time for her as well, because if you're a sibling of a child with special needs, you also have special needs, and you have your own needs. So we have our own time together alone, but however, she understands that she also has a role to play. Another thing is that if you cannot afford caregivers, you cannot afford assistant teachers, you cannot afford therapists and all that, in your community, you need to be a nice person. You need to be kind to your neighbors. Let me give you an instance. It's very recent. There was this family, they live in Ikorodu. There's this family, they live in Ikorodu. And the woman has, I think about, she has many children. Then she has a set of twins. One has one twin, Kehinde has severe cerebral palsy. Taiwo is fine. Taiwo goes to a public school. Kehinde, who has severe cerebral palsy, even with her severe, she can talk, and Kehinde, who has cerebral palsy, has never left her house. She was not educated. She doesn't leave the house. She's always just lying down. Now, they had this neighbor, who is also a young mother. And I think she just gave birth and, she will need to go out. So the other neighbor who has a set of twins, the twins at that time they became teenagers. She will send one of the twins, the Taiwo, to go and take care of her neighbor's baby so that her neighbor will be able to go to her shop or go out. Eventually, within a space of 2 years, the twins' mom died. This is with an absentee father. The father has no money. They were living in an uncompleted building owned by the father's friend. So, and Taiwo goes to school. Kehinde, who has cerebral palsy, will stay at home from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. unattended to. They didn't have money, they didn't have food. It was the neighbor, out of her not even having enough, that will give them some food to eat. So it was the neighbor that started looking for help for these children. They contacted someone else who contacted me. We were able to move Kehinde to a private home, and Taiwo, by that time, Taiwo and the younger brothers, they were out of school because they could not afford their school fees, were able to raise money and move these children back to school, and cater for their feeding. Why am I trying to say this? Don't say, oh, because I have a child with special needs, everybody doesn't like me. No, he who needs friends must first be friendly. So as a parent of a child with special needs, you need to be friendly. You need to go out of your ways to be nice to people, to have friends. If you have wicked extended families, look for friends around you. Join a support group. Let people know about you and your child. Do not hide your child, because you have to think of the future. You have to think of, okay, when I'm gone, what happens to this child? So those are the things that as parents, one has to consider, even if the people I'm talking to today in the audience, if there's no parent here, you can take this message to the parents in your community. It is very, very, very essential, because you can ask me, oh, why did you take Kennedy to a private home? We went to Lagos State, and as at this time, Lagos State told us they have no space in all their homes to take Taiwo in, like Kennedy into their home. We had to go to a private home with well-meaning Nigerians that were paying 45,000 a month to keep Kennedy in a home. So that is why you need to be the ambassadors, and tell parents about what I'm saying. So when it comes to parenting your child, most parents are focused on, oh, this is Ayinde. This child does not know 1, 2, 3. This child does not know AB, cannot read. The first thing your child needs is love and acceptance. And your child can feel your energy. Love. Am I loved? Are they ashamed of me? Have I been accepted the way I am? Because this child did not create his or herself, So you need to, before you even focus on what can the child learn or do, first of all, work on your child's self-esteem. Stop trying to fix your child. Sit down well. Stand up straight. Don't do that. Don't hiss. Especially when your child is with you, let your child be free in your presence. When my daughter is having a therapy and I'm around, she will just be misbehaving. I will just leave the place for her. Let your child be comfortable around you. It's very essential. Affirm your child. Oh, yes, you can do that. Yes, you are beautiful. Yes. My daughter calls herself a princess. She'll tell me I'm so cute. Affirm your child. Speak positive words to your child every day. The world is already judging you before even knowing you. The world is already seeing your disability before they see your ability. So be the one voice, be that one positive voice that your child is hearing every day, that you can do this, you are beautiful, you are intelligent, you're a great person. Then pray for your child. It's not until you take your child to Rehambonke prayer group, or you take your child for deliverance, you as the mother, the father of that child, can pray for your child, pray with your child, teach your child about God's love. It's very essential, because your child will come to a point where the child will be asking, does God truly love me? Does God truly exist, especially in the world that we are today? So it's essential that as early as possible, you introduce God to your child. Then another thing that we should, take seriously is the contact. Hug your child. I know a lot of African moms are not used to, or is it parents are not used to the showing softness, hugging. I had to relearn it, you know, because growing up, I didn't experience that. So hug your child, celebrate any little achievement, celebrate. Teach your child to believe in him or herself, you know. Then follow up with therapies. If you need to do therapy for your child, if you know, I mean, this thing costs money. The ones you can do in the hospital, the ones you can do at home, necessary treatments, necessary drugs. And sure, don't say, I've seen a lot of fathers that will say it's as though I'm pouring money into a basket. Then they will do therapy for a child for 1 year, 2 years, and I hear me saying, hey, I have been paying for therapy for 2 years. I cannot see any improvement. I can't be wasting my money. It is most of the disabilities we are dealing with, you know, developmental challenges are lifelong. So most people just think of they are treating malaria, they are treating typhoid. No, sir, no, ma. They are lifelong. Most of the things we are doing that we call therapy is for management. We're managing the disability. We're managing, you know, it's not because there's a cure. If there is a cure, fine. But don't let people turn your child into guinea pigs, you know. So therapy should be as long as it's necessary, what you can afford, pace yourself, you know, basically. So can you see my next slide on education?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. So I'm very key on education for a child with disability. When I had my daughter, I was told, oh, children with this level of severity of, you know, disability, they do not go to mainstream schools. They can only go to special needs schools, blah, 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 blah. I initially started with a special needs school, and I wasn't happy with what I was seeing. Unfortunately, we went to Europe, and I saw their own special needs school. And I said, you know what? If we can't have this in Nigeria, I'm going to recreate it in my house. So I started homeschooling my daughter. But someone advised me that let her even go to a mainstream school for social skills. So I finally, because that's another story for another day, finally got a school that would take her. And you won't believe that someone that was totally non-verbal, within a period of time, she started speaking, you know, and she started doing well. And we then realized that, my God, this child is very intelligent. And all this we would never have known if we had just concluded that, oh, this child cannot learn. So I always encourage parents, even if your child has learning disability, let your child still go to school. Let your child still mix with other children. There is no special needs university. There is no special needs working place. There's no special needs community. They need to know, especially with the social skills, how to interact with their fellow mates, their peers. So education is very important. If you can get your children into mainstream school, fantastic. If no mainstream school will take your child, even if it's a special needs school around your area, ensure that your child is getting one form of education or the other. And you can also buffer it at home if you're able to see a lesson teacher in the house that can come. For my daughter, for a long time, before she even got to school, we're doing lesson teacher for her, and they focus on just sounds, reading out sounds and colors until she started repeating them. So it's very, very important. If your child, you know, people say, oh, children with special needs should go and learn skill. Okay, my sister cannot use her hands. So what skill is she going to learn? She can't use the hand, she can't use the leg. The skill she's going to learn is her mind, you know. So if your child can learn a skill, fantastic. Then I always advise parents to watch their children, introduce them to different things, and discover the child's talent. Okay, so in other countries, right? Having a child with special needs may not be very expensive because the country or the government will cater for their needs. In Nigeria, you will do everything, every damn thing. From like my daughter that will outgrow her wheelchair, that she needs a bathing chair. The bathing chair, I've not found a bathing chair here in Nigeria. We have to buy on Amazon, you know. So all these things are expensive and they will outgrow it. So as a parent, you need to work to earn money, whether you are the husband or the wife. If you is either you go physically to an office, if you say, oh, I can't do that, learn to earn money online. There are several things you can do today. You can do freelance, you can learn a skill, and right from the inside of your house, you can be earning money. As you're earning money, learn to save, learn to invest, and do life insurance for your children. Then a trust deed. You need to do a trust deed. If something happens to me today, who is going to care for, for my child? So you can instruct a trustee, which is like an organization. I know that there's First Bank trustees. There are so many trustees. They're usually part of insurance companies or banks that they have trustees. So you make a deed, a trust for your child. Oh, I want my child to go to this, whether maybe it's a paid home. I want my child to go to school up to this level. I want my child to have a caregiver. You state everything, then they will ensure that this thing happens for your child when you are no more. So all these things, parents have to think ahead, And let me go to the disabled parents. There was someone I was speaking with, and she kept on saying, oh, she knows that if only she was not disabled, she would have done so much more for her child, blah, blah, blah. And I was telling her, I said, don't fill your life with guilt. Do the best that you can, right? Do the best that you can. You already have more than you bargained for. So do the best that you can. And also, like I've said, everything I've said before with the other parents also is also important for the disabled parents. For you, you have to build your self-esteem. You're dealing with your own personal low self-esteem. You're dealing with the issues of having a child with special needs. So you're dealing with so many things. You should be going through therapy, period. You should be going through, you should have someone that you talk to regularly to help you, to work on your self-esteem, to work on your mental health. You need to guard the space around you. Only positive energy. Anyone that's giving you drama, eliminate that kind of relationship from your side. You need to conserve your energy. You need to conserve your happiness. It's very important. Then don't have this, oh, the world is unfair to me. No, you must have a positive spirit. You must have a can-do spirit. If you are a believer, you must be eating the word and confessing positively that you have strength. You can do all things. You should be oozing out positive energy. It should be calling you E for energy. Not because you'll be overdoing yourself, but that is the way for you to keep your head above water. Then don't be afraid to seek for help. Ask for help. I've counseled mothers that will tell you, they don't want any house help to come and maltreat your child. Let the person be there when you are there. You need help. Don't overstretch yourself. Join support groups, build your support system. Then you have to get yourself educated. I just finished a course, early this year, and people keep on wondering, what are you even reading? I have to keep on updating myself because as a parent of a child with special needs, there are a lot of innovations for children with special needs, especially when it comes to technology. A lot of available resources that you need to keep on updating yourself on these things, So, and these things are available at our fingertips. So, all these things I have said, it seemed a lot, but it's really not. I'm going to, so for me, whether they are parents here, whether they are persons with disability here, but I need you to be ambassadors for parents, children with disabilities. Because it is essential. There's so much to say. My heart is then much more. I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to over to the coordinators. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. You have said a lot. Let me just continue from where Mr. Nelson stopped. You have said a lot, and I truly appreciate you for pouring out your heart to everyone here with respect to disability, with respect to special need, and talking about your own life journey of your daughter and how you have, transformed and transfigured from that woman to becoming to caring for her and also helping other women, other special need mom to build their own family and home. I do appreciate. Before they bring in questions, once more, thank you again. I really got a lot. Before they bring in questions, let me just say one or two things I feel I want to say with respect to what you have said. Firstly, I'm very happy to meet with you in person or on camera. I've been seeing you on LinkedIn, and I was like, I need to know this woman and stuff like so. So the way I'm talking, because I'm very, very happy, so I'm expressing it in my emotions. I'm quite happy to meet with you, ma'am. Most of us here are young people, and we have disabilities. Most of us here have, in fact, almost everybody here has a disability. So we may not really have parents with disability here, but we have young people with disability here. But I think and I believe that what you have said, almost 90% of what you have said, or 95% of what you have said, applies to everyone based on maybe how we were brought up, how we were trained, one way or the other, be it the right way or the wrong way. For me, as a person, my parents did a very good job to a great extent by putting me in a mainstream school, and in a school where they made sure the school I attended was the school I attended from my nursery to my secondary. So I became very familiar with everybody. And if you're a new person and you're coming into the school, it just takes a bit of time for you to scream, get angry, shout. After a while, since everybody's getting used to me, everybody's already used to me, you just get used to what everybody has gotten used to. So that was the school I attended from my nursery to my secondary. I think the whole atmosphere changed when I got into the uni, and I discovered for the first time that I was different. For the very first time, it dawned on me that you're actually different, Jennifer. Because I didn't know I was different, because I've been in that school from my nursery, like when I was 3-4 years, to when I became 15, 16. And all the older students knew me as, this is Jennifer. Only the new, I'm very sorry, only the new children that got to see me differently. And after a matter of time, they get to get used to me. So I get to understand what you're trying to say. And it's very, very important that parents understand these things, some of these things. I don't know how my parents got to know about it, but somehow they did a very good job to a great extent. I see some people who are raising up their hands to ask questions, especially as it pertains them. Let me just call them. And okay, I have Gideon here. Gideon, you can unmute yourself. But before we even do that, please, can we applaud Mrs. Buki? Can we give her some emojis? Can we be happy? Can we just give her some thumbs up? We need to really give her some emojis and thumbs ups. Just type something on the chat box. Say thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. You're wonderful.
Give us some
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great.
You're wonderful.
Great.
You're great.
Yeah, so that's it. Now, Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. So that's from our
Thank
hearts.
you.
So Gideon,
Yeah.
if you have question, you can turn on your camera if you're in a good place and unmute yourself.
Okay. Mom, good afternoon, and thank you very much for this wonderful class. I'm super excited for this particular class because it has to do with issues relating to all of us found in this group with disabilities. And just to say that the same issues that you have in Nigeria concerning persons with disability is the same way we face in Cameroon, because virtually everything about persons living with disability in Cameroon, you struggle for it by yourself, if not of some few organizations or Christian missions that may come into assist. I think everything is virtually dependent on you. Um, in relation to the education of persons with disability, I think that as for us in Cameroon, we'll be able to fight to some extent in a way that at least somehow we are recognized. There are some few schools, some few government schools that persons with disabilities can attend. But we still have some challenges, which is regarding some mission schools. What I had to say is not really a question though, but I was just to share a little bit of my own story from where I started. Uh, I come from a background where they didn't believe that persons with visual impairment could go to school. And even when I was approached by some reverend sisters to take me to school, it was a very difficult task for my mom, in fact, my parents in particular, to face. It reached an extent where my parents had to escape and go to the farm because they were indoctrinated by the fact that if I was taken away from them, I was going to be used for sacrifice or whatsoever. But I thank God that they insisted until today I am where I am. So, Mom, I just want to say that in everyday life, such thing we face, and there are some people now that they still keep their children at home who are children with disabilities. So I just want to say that the issue we face regarding persons with disability is not only in Nigeria, but everywhere. So it is through sensitization like this that we get, and then we keep fighting to ameliorate such conditions and to make sure that we have zero persons living with disability that are living at home because they cannot access mainstream education or other form of education. So thank you very much for taking that step that you took to educate uh, a child with disability, and for you to become a moral coach of this nature is a grateful job that you did and that you are doing. So thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Gifty and Steve, then I'll check the chat box.
Hello, I'm here.
Yes,
Hello.
yes, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I enjoy listening to this program. I actually work with uh special mothers, and in fact, I've learned a lot. This will help me with a long way so that I can help mothers. Talking about the forgiveness, forgiving yourself and forgiving others. One thing I realized from the special mothers is because most of them I met are the mothers, not the father, and because the father have rejected the child and its responsibility, they are very embittered. And in fact, it's difficult for someone who is embittered to show love. So you see, the child, they don't show love to the child. And if the mother have two or three children, you see that the attention goes to the able children, and disabled child suffered a lot. And I've seen so many people in that way. I remember I met this young lady who have a nice baby boy who is cerebral palsy, And she confirmed in me that and is her family wants like the family wants her to agree so that they put their child to death. In fact, I became very sad when I heard that. So I encouraged her and I took her to our disabled meeting, and she met a lot of people there. And I also helped her to access common fund, although it wasn't much, but that changed a lot of things for her life and her child. And I'm happy that I've come to get this information. Now I will be able to help them more and open their mind. It's all about knowledge because their knowledge about the child itself is limited. The parents don't have more knowledge, and most of them are also not don't have money. So what they really the child need, they can't give, and that becomes difficult. And I've always advised parents that the more love you give, the more attention you give the child grow and come out of the disability. So I'm happy to hear you. Thank you so much.
Too. Thank you so much. As Madam Bukis just said, money is a very important thing. Yes, when she was talking, you get to hear Europe, you get to hear many things, but most importantly, I think love is very
Yeah.
important as well. It's also one of the key things that can keep a child with a disability going. A child with a disability can have everything in her house or his house as a little child, but if there is no acceptance from the family, there's no love, that child will still not be able to build a healthy self-esteem. And that's one of the things we are here to do. We may not be having everything to give, but not be having everything to give, but one thing is for us to make you to carry the message of love to those mothers. Firstly, to for yourself as a person with a disability. Most of us are
Mm-hmm.
parents or we are going to be parents soon. And secondly, to any other person or parent that will come across. Disability is not something we are telling you that it's not like I have a disability and I know how challenging it is. So it's not something I'm trying to promotes, but I'm trying to say now it is like this. What is next? So disability, as I was saying, is not something that we plan to like it happens or like you have said. But if it happens, there are ways to manage it and still fulfill purpose and still fulfill life and still fulfill destiny. And that's what we are here to do. So someone have a message on the chat box that I want to read. I don't know if it's a question, but let me just read it. It's from Phil. Okay, I have Ebude Stefani. He says, "Ma'am, thank you so much for the presentation. Please, what do you do as a child with disability if your parents refuse to be your support system?" That's one question. And because of time, let me just run to two questions. Then we might be able to call it a day. Then Ekobi Philemon says, "Thank you for your lecture, madam. Wish to ask this, madam, please, have you ever come across parents who are both disabled, and how do you advise they come to go along with their daily activities, even before and after giving birth?" Wow, both parents are disabled. Wonderful. So, ma'am, if you can quickly rush through the questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so at least I have a support group. The head of the welfare has a child with disability, and I think when she was in her 30s, she had an accident and she's on a wheelchair. She also got pregnant last year, and she just gave birth, I think, last month. So the main thing is support. Like I have said, you need support. I'm not a very sentimental person, right? Because I'm a very logical person. If you know right now you can't take care of yourself and you don't have money, why bring a child into the world and add to it? Let's be reasonable. If you are abroad, Like a few years ago, I went to Europe with my daughter for therapy. And I was telling the mothers there, oh, we have to buy this, we have to buy that, we have to pay for this. And they're just looking at me as in, he said, their government does all that. Nobody is going to give you any free thing unless you want to go a begging. So if you know you want to have your child, ensure that you're working and you have saved money, because you will pay for all your services. And please ensure that you know the number of children you want to have. And ensure that you are doing your family planning. Ensure that you are doing your life insurance. Insurance companies right now do not pay for the therapies of our children. They've not included. We're still fighting for it. They've not included it. So all these things, my friend called me and said baby diapers is now 5,000 or 6,000, 7,000 per pack. My daughter is 10, right? The diapers that she uses, the same quantity of that 5,000 is 29,000 naira. I had to win her off at a point. I was upset. I had to devise a way of getting her off the diapers. So, we began to time her to do the toilet training and everything. And I just had to tell her caregivers, we have to achieve this. We cannot be spending 29,000 on diapers for 2 weeks. So these things they cost money. So I'm not saying you should not have children. Please, everybody should have if you desire it. But what I'm saying is this: ensure that you have your money to be able to pay for caregivers to take care of you and your child. Ensure that you have the number of children that you can take care of by yourself, as in with your finances. That is the way I'll go. Like my friend now, who I said, have a baby now. Her husband is there, her in-law is there, and she also has a caregiver with her that can take care of the child. Because it's here in Africa that we so much, if you don't have a child, you have not arrived. When you get to heaven, will they ask you if you have a child? That you cannot come in. So yes, if you love children, be ready to pay the bills. Okay, so you can say, I love children. You can go and to the orphanage and volunteer your services. But please and please, don't say, I want to give birth to children and depend on others out of their own hearts to care for the children. Yes. That's my take on that. I don't know if I've offended anybody, but like I said, I'm not sentimental. I say it as it is, because these are the things we see daily.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Buki. I really appreciate this. I like this hard talk, this hard true talk. It's sometimes it may not be easy to bring it out, but you just have to tell people. And just to add to what Ma'am said, the thing is, disability is expensive, and that's just the truth. There's no how you can do it or say it. When I finished my university, my uni, my parents decided to buy me prosthesis. I have one actually. I just decided not to be wearing anymore. At the point I had to just keep it. But my parents decided to buy for me, and I had to go to those people that do it. I don't know their names anymore, but I had to go. I had to go there. They had to measure my hand. They had to do so many things, and check my skin color, my skin type, and everything. And my parents paid a lot just to get that for me. And I wore it for a very long time. I wore it all through my law school when I was still in Nigeria. I wore it all through and it was really very healthy and very nice for me. I felt, to a great extent, I felt whole in a different way, although I wasn't used to it because I was born this way, ma'am. But it was really good. And at the point, it was outgrowing me because I was getting chubby, and my parents were like, we have to do again for you. We have to take you back in, and by the time we started getting how much is the fees and everything, discovered that the fees are actually, increased. It's not like 2 years back and all. So disability is expensive. And if you're a person with a disability and you want to cater for your children, you have to, as Madam Buki said, you have to count your cost. If you don't have the means, you can go to the orphanage and love other people's children. God will still bless you for loving children. But count your cost, because as she said, nobody will take your responsibility for you and cater for your own responsibility. Nobody will. And that's how it is. Nobody will. The best they can do is to assist, but nobody can fully 100% do everything for you. It doesn't work that way. Even as a person with a disability here in the UK, I still work because nobody will cater for my responsibility here in the UK. I work. Even though I'm schooling, I still work. I still do things. And the little support system I have, like my family members who are here, they provide shelter, they provide some things before I came in here in the UK. But you still have a role to play, and that's how it is. So nobody really, in quotes, everybody is chasing their own thing. Let me just put it that way. And it's not a bad thing that everybody's chasing their own thing. So if anybody decides to probably even give you attention, it will not be 100% attention. It can be maybe 10% attention, 20% attention. You are the only one that can give your own self 100% attention by deciding what you want to do with your life. And that will be, I think that will be all for today because we have past time. Madam Buki has tried a lot for us. Ma'am, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you for coming. You have done so much for us as persons with disability, parents with disability, prospective parents who, who we have children and every other thing. Thank you so much, ma'am. So before she leaves, let's give her another emoji. Let's just give her another thumbs up. So please give us the thumbs up. Let it keep going so she knows how very happy we are. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are really grateful that you came in, and greetings to your lovely daughter, your supportive husband, your wonderful family, your support team. We really appreciate you. We are part of the family. Most of us here are graduates, university graduate, polytechnic graduate, all graduates, and LBD Foundation Life Beyond Disability. What we normally do is advocate for digital and social inclusion of persons with disability. We try to encourage people who are around us, like this forum, to become better, to build themselves, to grow themselves, and to be strengthened. And this is our own little support system that we have here in LBD to keep supporting ourselves, groom ourselves. And we are all young people. And another thing, we try to reach out to companies like tech companies to take one or two of our students and enroll them in soft skills like tech courses. We have few students who are undergoing tech training that are here, undergoing tech training like software engineering. We see how we can put them in, groom their skills, and build as many as we can build. But the most important thing that you have done is mindset orientation, transformation, which you have done, which is the first process to growth that we are doing through this forum. So we are happy that we have you. We would love to have you more. We are grateful, and it's from our heart. Actually, we are very grateful. We love to have you more, but we know we have to leave you now to go and attend to other important matters. So thank you once, and God bless you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. And I wish you all the very best. The sky is not even the limit.
Amen.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye for now, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye. Bye. Bye.